I'm Jim Cameron, Program Director of Darien TV 79, and we're at the Darien Community Association for the annual Volunteers Luncheon. Joining us is Janet King, who is the Executive Director of the Community Fund of Darien. Great to have you back with us.
Thank you for having me.
What is the Community Fund of Darien?
The Community Fund of Darien is the former United Way. So what we do is we help donors make their contributions to a variety of agencies in our community in Stamford, Darien, and Norwalk. We serve 22 agencies, and we have more than 60 volunteers who go out and vet those agencies for us and for our donors.
And how much money do you collect each year?
A little over $1 million.
And that goes to organizations that do good works in the community, right?
Yes. They help support self-sufficiency, basic needs like food and clothing, and also youth success. Some of our money does stay in Darien and help with the Human Services Planning Council as well as the Thriving Youth Task Force.
And how long has the fund been in existence, either in this name or under the name of the United Way, which people might be more familiar with?
Almost 70 years. We'll be celebrating our 70th birthday in 2021.
And what's the purpose of today's luncheon?
It is to celebrate the good people of Darien who volunteer, who take their time and talent and volunteer endlessly for many hours for many organizations. We celebrate their good work.
Is volunteerism important to Darien?
I don't think most of our social service agencies could do the good work they do without the time that is donated to them by our volunteers.
How many people volunteer in Darien in one way or another? Any idea?
I'm going to guesstimate it's probably over 5,000.
5,000 people out of a town of 20,000?
I'm guessing, yes.
And that includes what kind of organizations? I mean, we will hear the recipients of today's awards, but what kind of organizations do people volunteer for?
The Darien Arts Center, Person to Person, the Community Fund, all of the PTOs at all of the schools have representatives here. The Darien Community Association, the DCA, Darien Book Aid. There's lots of organizations that need volunteers and have excellent volunteers.
And the purpose of today is to help honor some of the individuals from those nonprofit and volunteer groups. How many people will be receiving awards today?
35 volunteers.
35?
Yeah.
And how did they get chosen?
They are nominated by their organization. So you send in a short paragraph about what your volunteer does, and then we honor them today.
How can people get more information about the Darien Community Fund?
Go to thecommunityfunddarien.org.
Janet King, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for.
I'd also like to take this opportunity to express our thanks for years and years of support from Halstead Real Estate and our new sponsors, Brown Thayer and Shed. Without you, we would not be able to have this event. So thank you so much. We are most grateful. And in addition, I'd like to thank the DCA, the Darien Community Association, and Amy Bell for opening their wonderful facility to us and welcoming all of us. So thank you, and I'd like to introduce Amy.
Thank you, Janet. Recent speaker that we had at the DCA talked about the importance, especially in this digital age, of more gatherings such as this. People have a need to connect face-to-face and feel part of a community. So this is what we try to do here at the DCA. The opportunity to provide people a chance to come together, enjoy each other's company, and learn something new, or maybe even meet someone new. All in the conducive setting of this beautiful historic home and garden. We also had a 96-year history of philanthropy in Darien, which today includes our college scholarship program for Darien High School graduates, and our 4-acre bird sanctuary here, which you're welcome to explore after the luncheon. It's open to the public right here on this property. And we provide a vital community service with our all-volunteer run DCA thrift shop on the Post Road. So to our knowledge, other towns don't have anything quite like the DCA. There are public libraries, but they're supported by taxpayers. And we're 100% privately funded. And there are other historic homes, but not with the breadth and depth of activities, programs, and opportunities for community connection that the DCA provides. So in this spirit of community, we're thrilled to partner with the Community Fund of Darien and provide our venue for this celebration and recognition of all of you. So congratulations to all of today's honorees. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Amy, I also want to thank you for cueing Mother Nature on the weather. And the rhododendrons and the azaleas. So graduation's coming up. We've got some weddings, so they can put in a request with you for the weather. So thank you. And thank you to all the organizations that, on behalf of the Community Fund, that we work with pretty much on a daily basis. I'd like to welcome our elected officials, Jamie Stevenson and Susan Marks. Jamie's here too. And Mark, thank you for being here. I'd also like to have Jamie come up and read a proclamation.
Thank you so much, Janet, and to the Community Fund for this fabulous day. This really is the best day of the year, quite honestly. Second only to maybe the Memorial Day Parade, which is coming up. And we saw Pat Parlette's beautiful picture up here. I know she's right here, and just a preview of the parade. She's our Grand Marshal this year, so it's a big week. We are so grateful for everything that all of you do every single day to make this community as incredible as it is. And each and every year, I'm just astounded by the level of volunteerism and the contributions that you and your organizations make to bettering the town of Darien. So in honor of that, I have a little proclamation today. Whereas the Community Fund of Darien is the leadership organization that improves the lives of our neighbors in need in Darien, Norwalk, and Stamford by investing wisely in human service agencies and community initiatives. For 40 years, the annual Darien Volunteer Recognition Day Luncheon has honored outstanding members of our community who give their time, talents, and resources to make a difference in the lives of others. The Community Fund of Darien is proud to celebrate our community's spirit of volunteerism for individuals and projects that have made a significant difference in our town over the past year. We welcome all of you and are pleased to honor you during this very special day. Now, therefore, I, Jamie Stevenson, First Selectman of the town of Darien, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, declare Tuesday, May 21st, 2019, as the Community Fund of Darien's 40th Annual Volunteer Recognition Day. Congratulations and thank you for all of your contributions.
So this afternoon, we're going to present our volunteer honorees, followed by a group photo. So when you come up and get your certificate, if you could remain on the stage. We'll take a quick photo, and then we're going to hear from our inspired guest speakers, Bruce and Linda Coe. Our town's volunteers are young and old. They serve on boards, commissions, and committees, and they work all year long or maybe just a one-time event. Some organizations have just a handful of Darien volunteers, and others have thousands. We're honoring 35 of those volunteers today, who are just a highlight of all those who donate their time, talent, and energy to make a difference in this incredible town. Don't you kind of wonder why they do it? I did sort of an unscientific survey, and I called a few and asked a few volunteers, and I found one common theme is that our volunteers get more from giving than they do receiving. So I see a lot of heads shaking, like, yeah. Making a real difference in the lives of so many, and because we receive so much in return. So who wouldn't want to volunteer? I encourage all of you to find that right organization, that right spot for you to give back. I really want to meet these folks who are our local givers because the honorees were described as quiet generosity, heart of gold, fresh vitality, tireless advocate, unflappable demeanor. I think I kind of want to be like them. So congratulations to all of you who are being recognized today, and also to the thousands of people that you represent. You are our champions, so we salute you. Congratulations. Now I'm going to ask that you hold your applause until the end, and afterwards don't forget to stay up for a photo, all of you honorees. But I'd like to also thank the staff of the Community Fund of Darien, somehow Kathy Cronin puts this together every year seamlessly. Thank you to our interns from Darien High School, who've been a tremendous help today, and the entire staff of the Community Fund, so thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Lisa Haas, Emily Larkin, and Lori Oram of the Community Fund. We give Emily the job to go up and down the stairs 35 times. So welcome everyone. We are going to start with, from ABC, A Better Chance, Shamla Menon. Shamla has served as the college advisor for the ABC students. She worked diligently with our 2018 and 2019 graduates to help them prepare for and write powerful college applications, select appropriate colleges, and gently but firmly hold their hands as they go on as first-generation college students. Thank you, Shamla, for all that you have done to make a huge difference in our scholars' future. Please come and get your certificate, and please stay up here by the stage, because we're going to have a group photo, and it's just easier if you stay up here. Yeah. You can go on.
Our next honoree is Nina Miller, who volunteers for At Home in Darien. Nina enjoys being active in the Darien community and is a shining example of the quintessential volunteer. She always offers her time and experience to assist senior citizens in Darien to keep them connected to the community. Whether a senior needs a ride or a light bulb change, when phone calls need to be made or mailings need to go out, Nina is the first to offer help, and always with a smile. Thank you, Nina.
From Building One Community, we have Rochelle Charnin. As a non-practicing lawyer, Rochelle has put her training and experience to great use at Building One Community. At a time when we were struggling with the idea of family separation and the struggles of local immigrant families, she was instrumental in the starting of our community support group model. This program, which has been used successfully in other parts of Connecticut, pairs an attorney who is representing a client with a support team of trained volunteers. Thank you, Rochelle, for making a difference in our community.
Frank Huck volunteers at the Darien Arts Center. The Darien Arts Center Board of Directors would like to thank Frank Huck for his dedication, thoughtful perspective, and guidance as our treasurer during a time of transition at the DAC. With his positive approach, he helped a large group of new board members to understand our finances and the performance objectives of a multifaceted organization. He also encouraged the DAC to take a broader view by sharing his knowledge of the changing demographics and educational environment around us. Thank you, Frank, for all you do for the Darien Arts Center.
Okay, from the Darien Board of Selectmen, their nominees are Vic Pensiero, Sean Volin, and John Hessmer. The Darien Board of Selectmen is honored and proud to nominate all three volunteer fire departments: Darien Fire Department, Norotan Fire Department, and the Norotan Heights Fire Department as our 2019 Darien Community Fund Volunteers of the Year. The magnitude of contribution to our town can best be described by the numbers. One dedicated mission to preserve life and property in Darien on I-95 and cooperation with our neighboring towns. 3 well-trained, independently managed departments. 24 fire response apparatus and vehicles to maintain 24/7, 365 on-call service, putting emergency response before all else. 124 years of volunteer fire service with 173 active volunteer firefighters, 1,948 total fire calls in 2018. Who knew?
Priceless, the extraordinary commitment and dedication to the town of Darien by the men and women who volunteer their time as fire service responders. Thank you, Vic, Sean, and John, for your dedicated service.
The Darien Book Aid Plan, they honor Pam Miller. Pam contributed to the work of the Darien Book Aid in many ways in the 2018-19 year. These included being our domestic secretary, handling requests from libraries, and community organizations, and coordinating collection of needed books from particular donors and from local libraries. More exceptionally, Pam played a leading role in coordinating and selecting and sending 25 large boxes of books to 12 different schools in the Yap Islands, whose islands had been devastated by severe flooding. Meeting this need was a highlight of 2018 for the Darien Book Aid and was accomplished in a good part due to Pam's efforts. Thank you, Pam.
The Darien Chamber of Commerce nominee is Cheryl Williams. Since Cheryl joined the Chamber in 2016, she has become an instrumental member of the organization and the Board of Directors. Cheryl has been the marketing chairman, the vice chairman of the executive board in 2018-19, and the co-chair of the Chamber Wine and Food Tasting Event in 2017, 18, and 19. Her involvement has had a distinct impact on the Chamber and achieving the mission of taking a leadership role in promoting the Darien business community and the quality of life in Darien. Thank you, Cheryl.
From the Darien Community Association, their nominee is Pat Parlett. A 1943 graduate of Darien High School and a DCA Scholarship Awardee, Pat has maintained a lifelong connection to the DCA, where she has volunteered at the DCA thrift shop for over 25 years of her 93 years. For the most part, Pat has served as the thrift shop treasurer with bookkeeping that is legendary in its exactness and detail. And only matched by her love of the shop and the DCA, personal integrity of the highest standard is her optimism and zest for life. Congratulations, Pat.
From Darien High School, we have Tiffany O'Connor, who couldn't be with us today, but I'm going to go ahead and read about Tiffany. She has been a tireless and dedicated volunteer within the Darien High School Parent Association and has served in the role of co-chair during the 2018-2019 school year. Tiffany is bright, thoughtful, and insightful, and she infuses her leadership with kindness and a most appreciated sense of humor. She is a strong advocate for our students, and she is a perfect liaison between the school and families because of her integrity and warm demeanor. Darien High School thanks her.
From the Darien High School Parents Association, the nominee is Annalise Brown. Annalise has served on the executive board for many years in several capacities. Her current role in the DHSPA is the Student Life Chair, where she works with students and coordinates with our DHS Community Council to plan events, raise money for human services, and many other valuable DHS student activities. Thanks, Annalise, for all that you do.
From From the Darien Historical Society, we have Carolyn McGrath. A member of the Society's Board of Directors for a number of years and current co-chair of the House and Grounds Committee, Carolyn has lent her expertise and talents to countless critical projects. She won the 2019 Garden Club Award for the Society's Herb Garden. From leading development initiatives to organizing the Society's social calendar, Carolyn's commitment to the mission of the Society is evident. As current co-chair of the House and Grounds Committee, her organizational skills are evident in every room within the facility, and even the outside. The Society is very fortunate to have her to be the recipient of her caring involvement. Thank you, Carolyn.
Darien Human Services honors Kathy Larkins. Since 2013, Kathy, who is also tax collector from the town of Darien, has been volunteering countless hours of her time as the treasurer of Darien's and New Canaan's Salvation Army unit. She is responsible for all of the accounting and bookkeeping for the unit, which financially supports Darien residents in need through the Human Services Department. In addition, for many years, she has organized her book club to adopt a Darien family in need for the holidays. Kathy has a heart of gold. Congratulations.
From the Darien Land Trust, we have Janet Kling. Janet came on to the Darien Land Trust Board over 2 years ago and has hit the ground running. She has taken the awareness of the Land Trust mission to a whole new level with her social media savvy, and this year is the co-chair of the Development Committee. Janet is an active fundraiser and has been integral to the success of the annual Farm to Table dinner. She does all of this in conjunction with raising 4 young children and serving the community in many other ways. Congratulations, Janet.
From the Darien Library, Peter Etter. For the past 2 years, Peter has played a leadership role in our very successful tax assistance program, where he oversees the AARP tax volunteers and welcomes our clients with exceptional warmth and care. Understanding that anything involving taxes can make people anxious and not often appear at their best, his calm, assured manner goes a long way to making what is often a difficult process a bit more manageable. The library is the busiest AARP tax site in the state of Connecticut, due in large part to the extreme customer service led by Peter. He embodies the best of our community, and we are thrilled to recognize him for his outstanding volunteer efforts. Congratulations, Peter.
Next up is Mike Wheeler from Darien TV 79. Mike has served on the Darien TV 79 advisory board for over a decade, in the last 4 years as its chairman. He has been a tireless advocate for expanded programming, bringing the station's coverage of town meetings to Facebook and YouTube. His extensive technical knowledge and calm demeanor have helped TV 79 to its most extensive coverage since its founding in 2007. Thanks, Mike.
From the Darien YMCA, Scott Overbeck. Scott has been a volunteer basketball coach for the Darien YMCA's Winter House Basketball League for over 10 years. With 5 children who have played in our basketball leagues, Scott routinely coaches 2 teams a season, which is no easy task. Scott's coaching style, stressing fun above all, is always popular with the kids and parents and makes him one of the most requested coaches every season. We have been very lucky to have Scott to be part of our program all these years.
Is that his basketball move where you do the weave?
Okay, from the Domestic Violence Crisis Center, we have Jennifer Geddes. Jennifer, raise your hand back there. Jennifer has a broken foot, so Jennifer will not be coming forward, but let's all give her an extra big clap when we go through. So Jen is a labor and delivery nurse at Stanford Hospital. She serves on the Darien Commission for Aging and on the Darien Domestic Abuse Council. Jen has worked on raising awareness and support for victims of domestic violence long before there was a formal council in the town of Darien. She first got interested in the issue of domestic violence as a student nurse. As she moved into a career as an OB and delivery nurse, she found herself in a position of being a trusted professional when the victim was at their most vulnerable. She strongly believes in educating both the victim and the professionals they interact with to break the cycle of violence that is typical of domestic violence. Thank you, Jen.
Family Centers honors David Ball. David's roots with Family Centers run deep. In addition to serving on the board of directors since 2015, he has been a longtime supporter of Family Centers and has attended many of the agency's special events. As an investment advisor for UBS, he also has provided counsel on Family Centers Endowment Fund. David is a staunch supporter of literacy-related initiatives and co-chaired the Family Center's Scrabble Challenge to benefit literacy volunteers in 2017 and 2018. Thanks and congratulations, David.
The League of Women Voters of Darien nominates Shelley Scoblin. Shelley single-handedly compiled our Fall Voters Guide, one of our premier voter education projects, which solicits and publishes candidates' responses to a common question pertinent to their desired political office. She then volunteered as a question sorter at our annual Live Candidates Night debate, enhancing the ability of Darien residents to question those seeking elected positions. Shelley served on this year's nominating committee, encouraging new young members to take on positions of responsibility. We thank her for all of her efforts.
From Mather Homestead Foundation, Andrea Huntington. Andy has single-handedly rejuvenated the sunken garden at the Mather Homestead. This historic garden was a beautiful space created during Stephen Mather's era and is central to the restoration of the property. Andy has rolled up her sleeves to weed, plant, and reimagine this garden. She has also coordinated volunteers and local landscape teams to bring her vision to life. Thank you, Andy.
Norwalk Grassroots Tennis and Education nominates Katie and Emily Wiley. Katie and Emily Wiley are part of our wonderful Darien High School volunteer group who assist on the tennis court, in the classroom, and on countless events. Emily and Katie went above and beyond this past year as tennis coach volunteers during the summer and our holiday events. Over the summer, Emily and Katie volunteered over 30 hours on the tennis court, helping kids learn tennis fundamentals while exhibiting great leadership and sportsmanship qualities for our kids to emulate. In addition, Katie and Emily volunteered at many of our holiday events. They are phenomenal volunteers, and we are lucky to have Katie and Emily as part of our community.
From what I hear, they're also phenomenal tennis players, so Person to Person nominates Haley Akers. Haley has been a volunteer of Person to Person since 2013, contributing over 1,300 total volunteer hours. Haley currently serves on Person to Person's Programs Committee, volunteers 1 day a week in reception, as well as countless hours in the Darien office helping with paperwork. In addition to her time dedicated to Person, Haley volunteers with the Community Fund of Darien as a grant panelist. Person to Person is fortunate to have Haley as a volunteer someone who consistently has a smile on their face and is always willing to step in whenever there is need. Thank you, Haley.
Silver Hill Hospital nominates Annie Slaughter. Annie joined the pet therapy team at Silver Hill last spring with her dog Otis. Annie would like us to believe that it is Otis that deserves this praise because she humbly explains he is the one who brings delight and humor to the patients every time he visits Silver Hill. Through her gentle, patient conversations, Annie encourages patients to talk about the things that they like to do, which reminds them that they possess talents and strengths. Eyes shine brightly when Annie and Otis are around. Annie, thank you for all you do, you and Otis, and all the joy you bring to others.
The Carver Foundation of Norwalk honors Reeve Berkman and Elizabeth Hall. Elizabeth and Reeve started a community service club at Darien High School to help their fellow students find organizations where they can volunteer. Besides inviting Carver to join their list of organizations, Elizabeth and Reeve, along with other volunteers they recruited, helped with Carver's annual Halloween party and Thanksgiving basket stuffing. They have led their peers by example and shown what it means to serve their community. Thank you, Reeve and Elizabeth.
The Community Fund of Darien's nominee is Jill McCammon. Jill probably should have never answered the phone when we called her to ask her to help with strategic planning. Upon learning that Jill had experience at McKinsey & Company, we knew we had a rock star. Jill dove right in and not only led the team, but introduced new ideas, researched nonprofit organizations, and kept the team focused with her kind and professional manner. She not only organized the strategic planning committee, but took it to a whole new level and met with a local consultant for advice. Her contribution of time, talent, and expertise far exceeded our expectations. Thank you, Jill. You truly make a difference where you live.
The Darien Foundation nominates Byrne Posey. Byrne jumped in full steam to serve as the event chair for this year's benefit. She has a remarkable ability to manage multiple projects simultaneously. Her unflappable demeanor, her attention to detail, her incredible work ethic have brought new energy to the planning process and new volunteers to the committee. Our board of directors has been so impressed with Byrne's invaluable contributions and that she has elected to join. We are grateful for Byrne for her commitment to our efforts as we continue to build a better Darien. Congratulations, Byrne.
Donna Collins from the Darien Nature Center. Donna has been our volunteer exhibit coordinator and curator at the Darien Nature Center for the last 3 years. She has gifted the Nature Center with her time and talent to shape meaningful and thoughtful exhibits that reflect the values and mission of the Nature Center to celebrate and engage with the natural world. Donna led her fellow artists in establishing a standard 30% donation from sales, which has made a tremendous impact on our ability to engage our community in the beauty of the natural world through programming. Congratulations and thanks, Donna.
The Depot Darien's Youth Center nominates Kathy Eriks. Through Kathy Eriks' position as co-president of the Depot in 2018-19, she increased revenue by 83% from when she initially came to the board of directors. This has allowed the Depot to better implement programming with a focus on mental health awareness, targeting families, teens, and parents. It also has amplified youth empowerment clubs and charitable outreach opportunities, offering 1,000 kids in 2018 a safe place to grow, connect, and give back. Kathy has been instrumental in keeping the depot doors open and operating, leading a hard-working and functional board of directors and staff. Congratulations, Kathy, and thanks for all you do for our kids.
And not to be outdone by her mom, we have next up from Thriving Youth, Annie Eriks and Lily Kosnick. Annie and Lily have gone above and beyond as this year's Youth Asset Team presidents. They have organized and spoken at many special events, helped design the latest iteration of the Our Darien campaign, and facilitated meaningful and productive bi-weekly meetings of their peers. They are insightful, creative, articulate, and confident, with public speaking skills of someone twice their age. They have been a joy to work with this year, and bright things are certainly ahead as they begin college this fall. Congratulations and good luck next year, girls.
The Tokenique PTO nominates Stephanie O'Malley. Stephanie has been an incredible asset to the Tokenique Committee. Past roles she's held include the Tokenique PTO Chair and Vice Chair, Bingo Night Chair, Spring Fling Chair, and Enrichment Chair. She is currently Chair of 5th grade Bingo and the 5th grade Class Gift. Her boundless energy and commitment has benefited Tokenique School immeasurably. This is her last year with kids at Tokenique, and we are sad to see her go. Thanks and congratulations, Stephanie.
And our last nominee couldn't be here today. It's Katie Murphy from the Darien Youth Commission. I'm going to go ahead and read what was written about her. Katie is, in a word, a gem. She joined the TOPS group in a lead position 3 years ago when her oldest or 4th child was entering the 6th grade and has been a constant, steadying force with this group since then. She never loses sight of why we do what we do, which is to provide our middle school age kids with a fun, safe, and exciting social opportunities. Katie takes her leadership right into the trenches with all the volunteers supporting the TOPS programs, making her a critical part of all the success our kids enjoy. Congratulations, and thanks, Katie, for all that you do.
I know some of you have been waiting up here for a long time, so we just want to get a quick picture.
I'd like to introduce you to our inspiring speakers. We have a husband and wife team who take you under their spell and wrap you up in the warmth of their friendship. I first met Linda Coe through the United Way Food Coalition in Stamford, where she called herself just a community volunteer. When I asked her what else she was involved in, she shared a list of all her volunteer opportunities. So I knew I had met someone very, very special. And then I met Bruce Coe, her husband, and asked him what he was involved in. And once again, there was a laundry list of a lot of things. So I knew I had met the dynamic duo and the most amazing couple who have thankfully resided in Fairfield County for 26 years. They live in Stamford. And they recently received the Moffitt Media Light a Fire Award as the most involved couple. So the Coes have their story to share with you, but I have one little tidbit about them that I'd like to share, and they're probably going to yell at me or kill me later. But they spend their vacations on road trips driving around the United States, not to see the sights, not to see the Grand Canyon, but to visit food banks and food pantries to see how they can bring that knowledge back to our community to help improve food distribution. So I think the secret to a happy marriage is road trips with community involvement. So please welcome Linda and Bruce Coe, my friends.
Oh, no. They're up to something. They ask for 2 microphones, they're very demanding. Okay, hold on. Oh, there they go. You guys are professionals.
Well, Linda and I want to thank you very much.
Oh, no.
No, I have a couple of questions.
You know who's in charge here.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe in America?
Yes.
Do you believe in the Constitution?
Yes.
Do you believe in free speech?
Yes.
Well, you're about to get one.
Okay.
Thank you, Linda. Linda and I want to thank Janet for asking us to come today and to talk with a group that has such deep involvement in your community.
Oh my gosh, as I look over this room, I'm totally overwhelmed. Look at all these people. It's really humbling to have the opportunity to speak to a group of volunteers that are as committed and accomplished as you all are. But it also offers us a chance to highlight why Bruce and I are focused on the groups that we work with and the organizations that we care so deeply about.
Sometimes it's helpful to know where a person has come from in order to understand their passion for giving back. I started my career with Hallmark Cards in Kansas City. I was fortunate to benefit from a company that believed in their byline, when you care enough to give the very best, and they implemented that in their sharing with the community and the involvement that they had. In 1992, Linda and I moved to Stamford, Connecticut, where I enjoyed a career with Reader's Digest. After retiring, I knew my mission was not to play golf or to go on cruises, but to use the strategic management skills that I had honed in business to give back to those in need.
I am often asked, how did you get involved with food insecurity? And my answer always begins with our church. Giving back and serving others is really an emphasis of Trinity Church. And when the Bible told me, quote, "Feed my sheep," I took it literally. I really became passionate about alleviating food insecurity once I realized how prevalent it was right here in Fairfield County, one of the richest in America. How can more than 100,000 people in our area be suffering from food insecurity? And how can 14% of our children be unsure about where their next meal is coming from? And that's when it struck me that hunger lives right here. I began by cooking and serving dinner at New Covenant Center, which is the only soup kitchen in Stamford, Connecticut. And I watched as the men and the women and the children lined up for a meal. All they wanted was a meal, and we were able to serve them. Then I became helping at the food pantry, and that's when I really realized how many families needed help, and that most of them were not homeless. Most of them had a job. And also about this time, Bruce and I started a group at our church called Loaves and Fishes. And the idea was to get our congregation more involved in helping to alleviate food insecurity. And I'm happy to tell you that there were many in our congregation who really had a heart for this work and who are even today still active in feeding the food insecure.
Well, Lynn and I both look at our church as an important on-ramp to giving back. At Trinity, I helped start a men's local social outreach group, which once a month served various social agencies in the community. During one of those work days in Mount Kisco at Neighbors Link, our group was focusing on improving the lives of immigrants. Seeing what they had accomplished, I became motivated to help immigrants in Stamford, especially after working with an immigrant family from Peru. Then when I learned that approximately 38% of the population of Stamford is foreign-born, and the supermajority are living in the lower quartile of incomes, I decided I would do something about it. So 9 years ago, when I was invited to join some very talented women on a mission to educate, empower, employ, and engage immigrants in our community, I said, I'm in. And a year after, with the knowledge, connections, financial support, and talents of some 55 individuals working on 5 communities, we opened the doors to Neighbors Link Stamford, which a year ago we renamed Building One Community. Well, now 8 years after opening our doors, I'm extremely proud of the fact that Building One Community has helped more than 9,400 immigrants from more than 43 countries improve their lives. This year alone, we have more than 1,200 active English learners.
After helping at New Covenant Center for a few years and serving on the board, I looked around and I saw there were people in our community who weren't coming to New Covenant, and the reason was they were disabled, they were elderly, they didn't have transportation. And that's when I started to think, boy, wouldn't it be great if we had a mobile food pantry that would go to them? So I thought this would be great, and I started some research. And just about that time, I got a call from Person to Person. And they said, hey, Linda, we're starting a committee because we want to offer a mobile food pantry. Wow, the answer to a dream. A dream that has really come true, because not only did I get to help with the mobile food pantry, but I had the opportunity to work with Janet King. In less than a year, we had raised the money, constructed the truck, and we hit the road. Also, at about this same time, I realized that there were a lot of organizations in Stamford that were focused on feeding the hungry, and they were doing really good work. But every one of them was serving in their own little silo, and they weren't reaching out to each other to really solve problems. So then I started a project to pull these groups together. And guess what happened? United Way called me and said, hey, we want to start this collaborative to bring these groups together. So wow, here's another dream come true. So now, after 3 years, we have 30 plus agencies. We've been able to publish a food directory. We've conducted a study with Fairfield University, and we've hired a food policy manager to help lead this program. Bruce and I have recognized for a long time that there's a lot of food waste in the food chain, but I'm going to let him tell you about it.
Because of Linda's passion for feeding the hungry, I became involved in New Covenant Center and Food Rescue USA. I became so involved in Food Rescue that I now serve on their board of directors. Food Rescue US is an organization that picks up excess food from restaurants, corporate cafeterias, grocery stores like Trader Joe's, and delivers that directly to agencies that need it. It uses a digital app to connect volunteers to pick up food and to deliver it. So in 45 minutes and a gallon of gas, our volunteers rescue 600,000 meals a month. It's a very efficient way to feed people while keeping excess food out of landfills. We've been very successful with Food Rescue. It now operates across the country and can be found in 17 states. Our goal is to be in all 50. And it's at work in 19 cities right now, and it will deliver $8 million worth of food this year.
For the past 10 plus years, I've had the privilege of addressing the issue of food insecurity with some really fine organizations. New Covenant Center, Person to Person, Neighbor to Neighbor, Trinity Church, Food Rescue US, the Stamford Food Collaborative, and the Connecticut Food Bank. and they have all inspired, challenged, and motivated me. The leadership, the fundraising experience I've had has really been priceless. But the most valuable lessons that I've come away with are from the people that I've had the privilege of serving. People like Carlos, who taught me that your bank account does not need to dictate your happiness. Or Jennifer, who taught me that you don't need help to look homeless or hungry. And from Charo, that even if you don't have a lot of money, you can still give back and have an impact.
Well, my journey of helping not-for-profits started early in my working career with Boy Scouts, the United Way, and the American Red Cross, where in Kansas City I was the chairman of the board. This desire to give back has strengthened me through my faith as it accelerated in my retirement. Truly, this participation has given me more satisfaction than most of the accomplishments that I have had in the business world.
Bruce and I both agree that it's truly been an honor for us to serve and to hopefully have an impact, whether it's been modest or meaningful, to the organizations that we've been involved with.
And Linda and I know that whatever impact we've had with groups we work with, we've not done it alone. It's been through the hard work of staffs and armies of volunteers like you that have made this possible, and we are very appreciative of each of you in this room today.
One final thought. It isn't always easy to be with those that are struggling or in need. It takes a lot of hard work, and there's often a lot of disappointments along the way. But as my good friend Jose Rivera told me, Linda, if helping people were easy, everyone would be doing it. Thank you all so much.
Well, you can see why the codes inspire me. Thank you very much, Linda and Bruce. We appreciate your efforts in our community. Thank you. So it is a grand day to celebrate the contributions of many people in this room. We want to say once again, congratulations, and thank you all for being here. Have a good afternoon.